Welcome back to Giant Freakin' Robot. Today we're taking a look at the most powerful time traveler in the Star Trek universe. We first met him as an annoying child prodigy getting in the way on the Enterprise in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
But shut up, Wesley!
And now he's back as a major part of another series in Season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy.
I'm Wesley Crusher, and I've been waiting for you.
Wil Wheaton has returned to voice the character he first made infamous as a teenager. And what we've learned about him finally answers a lot of the questions The Next Generation left us with. In fact, it may be that much of the Federation history we've seen on screen has his fingerprints on it. Wesley is the son of Beverly and Jack Crusher. Jack was killed when Wesley was young, and he spent much of his teenage years growing up aboard the Enterprise under the tutelage of Captain Picard and Commander William Riker.
I've guided his training, sir. I'm the one at fault.
From the beginning it was clear that Wes was a genius, but a genius who got himself into dangerous situations on the regular. Since Star Trek Prodigy is an entire show about child prodigies who get themselves in dangerous situations, I suppose it makes sense that Mr. Crusher would show up at some point. But now he's gone far beyond child genius to become an adult with what basically amounts to Marvel-level superpowers.
It's not wise to test a traveler.
And if you haven't watched every second of every Star Trek show, you might be confused. Wesley Crusher started down this path in the 6th episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, when he encountered a mysterious alien known as the Traveler. The Traveler had the power to control time, space, and pretty much everything. The Traveler saw a special destiny for Wesley, which he did not reveal.
He should be encouraged, but told none of this.
It wasn't until the final season of TNG that we got a sense of what that destiny might be. The last we see of Wesley on that show, he abandoned Starfleet to go off with the Traveler, where he'll learn to use some of the powers the Traveler helped him develop.
You pulled yourself out of time, don't you see? You've evolved to a new level. You're ready to explore places where thought and energy combine in ways you can't even imagine.
While Wesley would show up far in the background on one of the Star Trek: The Next Generation movies, what happened to him next was never addressed until Star Trek Picard. In Season 2 of Picard, Wil Wheaton returns as the character.
I am a traveler of all of space and time.
He reveals that Wesley Crusher is now a full-fledged traveler, and that the Travelers are a cosmic group of entities who protect the continuity of time from disruption. And that's all we know, until his recent return on Star Trek Prodigy.
I'm Wesley Crusher. I thought I told you that.
The Wesley Crusher we meet in Prodigy is a very different person. He's older, yes, but also seems scattered and confused.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is the first time we've met, isn't it? I'm so rude. Time is such a funny thing.
Years of traveling through time have turned him into something of a mental mess, which might explain why he never seems to visit his family or friends again after leaving to become a traveler. During his travels, Wesley has seen and done more than we can possibly imagine. He's even been to alternate timelines, and he confirms he's visited the Kelvin universe of the recent Star Trek movies.
There's the Prime universe we're in right now. There's the Mirror universe, the Narada incursion, fluidic space, the mycelial plane. You're not supposed to know about that. Okay, forget I said anything about that. It doesn't exist.
His reference to the Narada is confirmation that he spent time in the Kelvin universe. The Narada is the ship Nero uses to travel back in time and destroy the Kelvin. It's that event, which Wesley calls the Narada incursion, which created the entire alternate universe the 2009 Star Trek movie and its sequels take place in. He also confirms that the reality Prodigy and the rest of Star Trek takes place in is the Prime universe. As if he's intent on answering all our Star Trek questions at once, Wes also gives us proof that Gary 7, a character seen living in the 60s on the original Star Trek series, was also a traveler. More specifically, he was one of the Traveler's supervisors assigned to supervise the development of Earth. And now Wesley Crusher seems to have taken over Gary 7's swinging 60s office and also, perhaps, his job as Earth supervisor. Wesley now has nearly limitless powers, controlled by his thoughts. His chief ability seems to be the power to see all possible timelines all at once. But he also has the power to change and manipulate physical matter with his mind.
With the powers of space, time, and the most overlooked variable, thought.
Wesley's not quite as powerful as one of Star Trek's near-godlike Q entities, but he seems like the next best thing. We saw hints of those powers developing in his final appearance on Star Trek: The Next Generation, but since then he's taken them to the next level. And while Wes changed a lot since we saw him as a kid on the Enterprise, one thing that hasn't changed is Crusher's willingness to endure just about anything to get his mission done. That doesn't mean he's actually good at what he's doing. Under his watch, our entire timeline has gone to hell. It's gotten so bad that all the other travelers have abandoned our reality to its fate, moving on to other, less doomed timelines. Wesley, as always, refuses to give up. As he explains it,
My mom lives here, and I am not gonna let it die.
he sets in motion a complex scheme to trick an entire civilization into building the device he needs to fix the timeline. At the same time, he maneuvers the cast of Prodigy into being in the right place at the right time to use that technology. It works out in the end, though not exactly as Crusher planned. Proof that there are limits to his nearly godlike powers. With the timeline saved, Crusher makes a long overdue trip to visit his mother. While there, he meets his new half-brother, Jack Crusher.
I want you to meet someone. Your brother.
Jack, named after Wesley's father, is the son of Beverly Crusher and Captain Picard. Years later, Jack will have a big role to play in saving the universe, just like his big brother did. We know from the events of Star Trek Picard Season 3 that Beverly doesn't see Wes much after this visit. Where he goes next is anyone's guess. Don't be surprised if he pops up again in some other future Star Trek iteration. In the meantime, like and subscribe to make sure you stay up to date on what's next for Star Trek. This has been Giant Freakin' Robot.
What are you talking about? Tracy!